Welcome back, everyone, to another downward day. I am currently here trying to outrun a massive swirling vortex of terror behind me. We are out here in the Oklahoma Panhandle, and boy, this is my first time experiencing one of these true gigantic Midwestern Great Plains thunderstorms, and it is scary. They are way scarier than the storms we have in Florida, but luckily, hopefully there are bright skies ahead, and I'm going to be able to leave this storm behind. But if you've been paying attention to the channel for a while, you may have noticed that a certain favorite content creator of ours has recently gotten himself into a storm. And boy, today, iDubbbz, I thank you. I thank you for breaking up this 5.5-hour drive with so much entertainment value. I got to listen to your wonderful response video that you just put out about Froggy Fresh, and now I'm here to record my response to your video. You're truly giving me hours and hours of entertainment to break off this drive through the unpredictable and unforgiving Great Plains topography out here. All right, after that minor incident of terror, possibly almost getting caught in a tornado, we've escaped the storm. That's right, everyone. The Downward Diary lives to see another day. Look what I do. Look what I do out here for you guys. We have escaped the storm, but iDubbbz, my friend, I'm afraid you have found yourself in the eye of the storm. That's right. You made your video today, your response to Froggy Fresh, and I gotta say, it's not good. The prognosis is not good, Ian. I got to listen to your video on this very long car ride, and I was facepalming every 10 seconds. It is not a good look. The former content cop has fallen off. He has lost his ways. He no longer knows how to present a compelling argument and actually get people on his side. Because, Ian, if you think this video is going to make things better for you, you have clearly lost touch. You have clearly lost touch with what it means to actually be a content creator. Because what I'm hearing in this video is, once again, a guy putting on the suit and tie, going into full damage control for himself, and really just giving me a laundry list of unsatisfactory, squirrely excuses, rather than actually being direct and forthright, which is, I don't know, what maybe your audience of millions would like to see out of a so-called leader of YouTube. All right, so we've gone on to an extended patch of really loud asphalt, so you'll have to bear with me. Think of it as some soothing pink noise for you to fall asleep to. Enjoy the ASMR, my complaining over some soothing noise. All right, so let's go back here and have a cursory review of what exactly iDubbbz is trying to say with this video. Basically, from what I gather, the thesis of this video is to make Froggy Fresh look like someone who acted in bad faith, who intentionally wanted to embarrass iDubbbz, to sabotage the event. It's really just iDubbbz bringing the hammer down on Froggy, trying to paint Froggy as the next Charles Manson for wanting to get trained by a boxing coach who had successfully trained other boxers to victory in real events, including Harley in Creator Clash last year. But no, according to Ian, Froggy Fresh was just in it for himself. He hates sex workers. He wants the event to fail. He's like president of Sam Hyde's fan club and worships the ground Sam stands on, and we're somehow supposed to believe he's this little minion who has no agency, who is just like doing the bidding of Sam Hyde. Ian, you should have watched my last video on you. The YouTube community is not on your side. You can't just sit here and grandstand and just swing your weight around and expect people to just fall in line behind you like they used to. You actually have to make sound, reasonable arguments, and nothing you said in that video has any sort of legitimate reasoning as to why Froggy Fresh was removed. You come out and say it straight up, Froggy Fresh was removed because he associated with Sam Hyde. You then try to back that up by showing these text messages between you and Froggy where you are actively permitting him to train with Sam Hyde. So I don't get it. Is Sam Hyde a no-go? The no-fly zone, the man who shall not be named, completely unacceptable to associate with Sam Hyde? If you were that adamant, about Froggy Fresh not associating with Sam Hyde. Why didn't you nip it in the bud immediately? Why show the evidence of you being just passive aggressive and being like, yeah, I don't really like where this is going, but okay. Did you somehow expect that to make you look strong, to make you look like the good guy? It looks like you were permitting Froggy Fresh to do what he wanted with Sam begrudgingly. And again, if you had that much of a problem with it, why didn't you end the relationship immediately? Just end it there. If Sam Hyde is so unacceptable that anyone who shares the same space, as you like to put it, anyone who shares the same space with Sam is just now an unmentionable, a deplorable, why not just end it right there? But no, you let it go on for weeks and weeks, at least a couple of weeks. It was public knowledge that Froggy Fresh was training with Sam Hyde. Why did you let it continue? If it was so unacceptable, why did you let it continue? And you also mentioned asking Froggy to not post any content with Sam until the event was over. Postpone posting any content with Sam until after the event. Like, is this like some kind of revisionist history? But did they not comply with that? Like, did he not like tweet out that he's gonna stop posting the content with Sam until after the event? And he didn't. Like, after apparently you sent him that message, he didn't do it. So again, why are you trying to use this as justification for what you did? Because it seems like you permitted Froggy to do this. You allowed the problem to escalate against your better judgment. And then when it spilled over into a PR disaster for you, you took it out on Froggy. Like, am I hearing this right? You permitted Froggy to go through all these steps. You didn't man up, and I'm not trying to make some toxic statement about masculinity, as you put it. There are certain leadership skills that are expected of men, especially when you are leading and running an event. There are certain leadership skills that are effective and that are expected out of you to not make you look like a squirrely pansy who just changes his mind on a dime based on whatever he or his wife feels like in the moment. Why was this not dealt with earlier? And I don't buy that you put in so much effort to try to make it work, to try to resolve the situation peacefully. Froggy said that you called him a total of 3 times since he became involved with the event, one of which was to go completely berserk over finding out that he was training with Sam Hyde. 3 phone calls. You know, you can show the text messages. You need to be in the driver's seat here. You need to be the bus driver, Ian. Make a phone call. Make calls. I totally believe Froggy here, and this is another thing. Everything Froggy has said has felt honest. And I understand that's a qualitative response. It's ultimately a judgment call at the end of the day. But Froggy has been here the whole time he's been in the controversy, responding to questions, directly responding, directly putting in his side of the story, while you've been hiding behind your brand account, saying nothing, and then just dropping this mean and spiteful video on Froggy after the fact. Froggy has handled this a lot more professionally than you. So for you to try to write him off and call him some kind of locker room cancer, it just doesn't add up. I'm not buying it. People are not buying it. Ian, you are in some hot water. You are looking like the dishonest, squirrely suit, which is what your trajectory was certainly heading for after you made that AI-generated, just completely bogus creator clash corporate statement. You were certainly heading that way, and now congratulations, Ian, you have arrived. You are officially a suit. You are officially PR manager for yourself and Anissa. Because people don't believe you. People don't trust you anymore. You have lost those privileges for repeatedly showing yourself to be dishonest and squirrely. And that's no different here in this video. Who knows, you could be telling the truth. You've lost people. And to try to paint Froggy and characterize him as a bad guy in this, it's a mistake, dude. You are digging your own grave. People are not on your side. If you just look no further than the comments that are already there. You can go ahead and get your little Reddit army involved to try to boost up your social credit rating. The storm of backlash against you has transcended a couple of Sam Hyde fans, just edgy Sam Hyde edgelord fans. Being edgy is not a personality, but apparently being on Reddit is. That's at least what the iDubbbz friendly audience has devolved to at this point. But no, Ian, you need to understand that any chance you had of at least being the calm, reasonable middleman, that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. You've drawn too many lines in the sand. You have postured and virtue signaled just a little too much. You've become a little too much of a hypocrite to where even normal, regular YouTube viewers who aren't even involved or affiliated with Sam Hyde in any way, they're calling BS. They're throwing hands up, saying like, what is wrong with this guy? And iDubbbz, this video is nothing short of a meltdown on your end. Your logical through line in whatever this word salad is that you're trying to dump on all of us, it's completely incoherent. You sound like a complete Karen. You sound like a complete virtue signaling, grandstanding dork, talking about how anyone who supports Froggy, anyone who maybe thinks Sam Hyde should not have been banned from the event is somehow a woman-hating, sex worker-hating misogynist, throwing out the complete straw man argument, complete mischaracterization of what people are actually upset at you for. Ian, I've said this before. I've said this again. 2 videos on it. Not enough. I said this on the record in Brandon Buckingham's video. This is not about Anissa. At least it's not for me, and that's never been my argument. I don't care about Anissa. Ian, this is about your actions. This is the content cop on iDubbbz. But instead of being up there in your ivory tower YouTube channel in your army of one, this content cop has been crowdsourced from all of your former fans who are raising eyebrows at your extremely pedantic and unbecoming behavior as of late. This is about your actions. This is about your behavior. Stop trying to make it seem like everyone's mad at Anissa, and maybe a lot of them are. You know, it's reasonable. It is reasonable for your audience of millions, whom you depend on for income. It is reasonable for them to have input over the trajectory of your career, especially when you've taken a turn that many of them disagree with, that goes contrary to most of what you built your channel on in the first place. It is reasonable. It is reasonable for people to point at that and ask questions and saying like, hey, how come iDubbbz became a total dork ever since he started getting with Anissa? These are reasonable questions to ask for people who are concerned about you and concerned about the content they once enjoyed no longer living up to expectations. It has nothing to do with being edgy or being a woman hater or hating on sex workers. No. Ian, this has always been about you. And yet you're trying to hide behind this notion that everyone who is now upset at you for becoming a total sellout shill and for putting on the suit and tie and crossing over to the corporate side of YouTube, you're trying to write them all off as just unreasonable, misogynist people when that's not true. That hasn't been the case for most people. Most people simply want to know why the guy who made his entire career coming out, guns a-blazing, ruining TanaCon, saying the N-word at TanaCon, all those people that you heard apparently, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you apologize. I'm fine with people growing and changing, you know? I'm fine with taking over a new leaf, but you have to own what you have done. Stop trying to memory hole your old career. Everyone knows that part of your career. It is the most views you have ever gotten in your career. It is the tentpole all-time high of your channel. It was that era. You can't sweep it under the rug. You can't make it invisible. This is a part of your career that has to be acknowledged. And look, Ian, I have empathy for you in this situation. I have empathy from moving away from old fans. But I don't like to sit here and pretend that the Behind the Meme video never happened, that the Jimmy Kimmel video never happened, that my YouTube poops didn't have extremely edgy and offensive humor. I'm not sitting here trying to hide the past. It feels like you are. It feels like it's not enough for you to have your cake. You have to eat it too. You have to get all this success from your old videos, millions and millions of views, millions and millions of subs, a diehard audience who loved you and loved your videos, and then you have to sit there and try to pretend like it never existed. Oh, you can be Mao Zedong responsible for the death of 60 million people, but like I'm doing good stuff too. I'm doing some good part with the Communist Party of China. We're feeding some people. Most of them starved, but we're feeding some people. No, it doesn't work like that. You are free to move on and change your opinion on stuff, but you have to act like, you have to at least acknowledge that that part of your history happened. And iDubbbz, what has been so squirrely about you recently is that it seems like you just want it all to go away. But you can't. That was the stepping stone. That was the ladder you took. The ladder you took to reach the unassailable heights that you have achieved, and now you're pulling it up. Pulling it up for the rest of us. Oh, Sam Hyde making edgy jokes about Anissa. Gee, I wonder which YouTuber could have possibly made edgy jokes before and made his entire career off of being edgy. But you're ridiculing Sam. You're trying to wag the finger at Sam for making edgy and shocking comedy. Imagine that. It's not like that's his entire career. It's not like that was your entire career. You gotta wag the finger. Everyone's got to sell out. Once you reach a certain subscriber count, you got to sell out and start wagging the finger at people. Wagging the finger, like, oh, how evil you, making fun of Anissa's teeth. Oh, couldn't imagine it. I busted out laughing. I laughed out loud when you played the Sam Hyde clips because unlike you, Ian, unlike you anymore, Sam Hyde is funny. Have you ever considered maybe people don't watch Sam Hyde because they agree with woman hating? And I'm not here to endorse Sam Hyde's personal political opinions, but he's a comedian. And he's a comedian who's made his entire career out of saying shocking, deliberately inflammatory stuff. So don't sit here in your ivory tower trying to play these clips of Sam. I was like, oh, he made fun of Anissa's teeth. God, I couldn't imagine it. It's not like one of the most popular videos you've ever made on your channel is deliberately mocking someone's physical appearance. But no, it's fine for you, but not for him. I see, and I understand you hurt people. And you're apologizing. Oh, all those people, I hurt people back in the day. Are you talking about Leafy, or are you talking about whatever? You're like your leftist friends. You're like Hassan Piker. Did you hurt Hassan Piker? Is that what you're talking about? You hurt Hassan Piker's opinion of you, because I don't think you're talking about Tana. I don't think you're talking about Leafy. I don't think you're talking about Rice Gum. You're talking about these people that have entered your life in the LA political sphere, the politically correct LA sphere, who you now want to get in bed with and desperately try to get their approval and validation. Like, is that the people you've hurt? Who are the people you've hurt, Ian? Because you're hurting a lot of your audience now by saying this stuff, by backtracking, by telling them that all this content that we thought was great back in the day, it just reflects poorly on us. Because we falsely believed that you were actually in it for some sort of reason other than to boost your own ego. We falsely believed that the incel rage you had back then would stick around forever and you wouldn't turn into just a giant prude shell of your former self. But no, none of that matters. It's all invisible according to iDubbbz. The only people who are flaming him are apparently there because they hate sex work, they hate OnlyFans, they hate women. Yeah, we've heard it a million times before from all the other people who make a career out of politically posturing and shaming people who want reasonable answers to reasonable questions. We've heard it before. And it's exhausting, and it's tiring, and it's sad. Ian, you know, this is my third video about you. To the layman, seeing 3 videos milking iDubbbz, most few videos on the channel here on Downward Diary, it's gonna look bad, but I'm true to myself. You should try it sometimes, you know? I'm confident in myself, and I'm not a massive sellout. I'll speak my mind, and I'll speak my mind on stuff I think is wrong. And I think it's wrong for you to characterize Froggy Fresh as some kind of misogynist freak. He's a guy who has a wife and daughter. Do you really think he can hate women that much? You surely try to paint him that way with all these out-of-context clips. And by the way, as a lot of people pointed out, pretty much all the evidence you're using against Froggy for why he was kicked, it was all videos and tweets taken after he was removed from the event. You're using events that transpired chronologically after the fact to justify why it was done before. And again, is it all about Sam Hyde only, as you claim verbatim in your video? He was removed for associating with Sam Hyde, and it wasn't because of the joke he made about OnlyFans? Because you sure seem to spend the lion's share of your video bitching about how Froggy Fresh is some kind of woman-hating, sex worker-hating misogynist, but it wasn't because of that? It sure seems like it. You probably wouldn't run your mouth for 20 consecutive minutes about it. If that had no impact on the decision whatsoever, you probably wouldn't have spent a majority of the video talking about it. So was it because of Sam Hyde? Doesn't seem to make sense there. He was talking to Sam Hyde, it was public, and that went on for weeks. But when he made that joke, that's the instant he was removed. See, like, Ian, this is why people don't trust you anymore. You run your mouth about this stuff. You try to appease yourself, Creator Clash, Anissa, whoever is working behind the scenes and like influencing and directing your behavior to come out with these contrived public relations statements. Which is it, Ian? Was Froggy Fresh removed for associating with Sam Hyde, the evil, evil man who can never touch anything you do in a million years ever again? Or was it because he disrespected you? And he disrespected your wife? You're the head honcho, you're the bus driver. I mean, you're free to evict anyone from the event for any reason. That's the privilege you have as the event organizer. No one is disputing your ability to do so. It's your event, dude. Go nuts. What people have a problem with is for you to sit here and talk about how Froggy's this bad guy, that he did anything even remotely mean-spirited or bad faith. You know, he could have boycotted the event. He had a huge head of steam behind you. He could have gone scorched earth. He could have launched boycotts. He could have told people to cancel their tickets, refund their tickets. He could have showed up to the event and caused a stir, but he didn't. He didn't do any of that because the way I see it and the way most people see it, he's a class act. He just wanted to raise some money for charity, and for you to sit here and turn on him like that and drag him through the coals and to like turn your audience of millions on him when it's clear, like, he hasn't even been talking about Creator Clash since then. Why does this video exist, Ian? People were ready to move on. Like, sure, your public perception was damaged, but people were ready to move on. But no, you have to just upload this complete meltdown, incoherent word salad of a video that makes no sense, doesn't line up with any of your actions, doesn't line up with reality. Just a bunch of empty excuses and lies. Trying to make yourself and Anissa look better by painting Froggy Fresh as some kind of villain in this situation. When he wanted to raise money for charity as much as you, oh, why? It's because he didn't pay back the $15,000? The $15,000 that he already spent on equipment? It's because he didn't want to take money out of his personal savings account to pay you? That makes him the bad guy? We're supposed to come on your side of that? Oh, I was never planning on suing him. You served him legal paperwork with a letterhead from lawyers, presumably, basically giving him an ultimatum of return the money or else. But that's not a legal threat. So it's okay. We're the nice guys. We had no intentions of ever using our charitable donation money to sue a creator. I'm sure that definitely never crossed your head. You put in the legal threat, but you had no intention of going through it. It was just playing around. It's just playtime. Creator Clash is just playtime. It's a preschool family-friendly event, which is apparently sponsored by sex workers. But it's a preschool family-friendly event where you can't work with unmentionables like Sam Hyde. And now Froggy Fresh is apparently on the same level as Sam Hyde. He's on the same level of notoriety. He deserves the same level of scorn. He's just part of like some kind of hive mind where Sam Hyde is just like mentally linked. They got the neural link up between Sam Hyde and Froggy Fresh, where Froggy Fresh just apparently co-signs and endorses everything Sam has ever done, everything Sam has ever said. It's not like he went to a guy with a good track record for training influencers in boxing matches and tried to get trained by him. No, there must be some kind of nefarious evil intent here. Froggy Fresh is the true puppet master. I see it now. It's come to light. We've entered the light. We've exited the storm. I see the light. Froggy Fresh was the puppet master all along. And poor Ian was just trying to run his little event. And Froggy Fresh had to get in the way and ruin his parade. Bad faith Froggy. That's what they gotta start calling him now. Ian, I mean this seriously. Not as a fan, not as a former fan, but as a fellow creator who deals with an audience, who deals with fans of their own. Please stop embarrassing yourself. Please stop. There was no need to make this video. You are bashing your head against a brick wall. You think you're slamming, you think you're owning the haters, but you are making yourself look like a slimy weasel, trying to paint Froggy Fresh as this bad guy, as this villain in the whole situation, using all sorts of circumstantial evidence to like take your audience of millions and somehow believe that Froggy Fresh is worthy of extreme derision and scorn. You know, at the end of your video, I'm proud of you, Ian. You addressed Turkey Tom, you addressed Sam, you addressed Brandon Buckingham, you even addressed Rusty Cage. I can't believe it. The washed up YouTuber Rusty Cage, you actually gave him a second ounce at relevance, a second chance to revive his career. Thank you, but you were using a lot of clips from Brandon Buckingham's video, of which I was a part, and I didn't see myself. You know, I'd like to have imagined this as my big break, but you just didn't include me in the video, Ian. Why not? Why not? Huh. Maybe it's because this whole straw man argument you're using about how everyone who was against you in this whole conflict is somehow a woman-hating misogynist, it doesn't apply to me, because if you rewind the tape, and this is how it's always been, I've always been one to say that I don't care what Anissa does. I don't care about sex workers. They can go off and do whatever. I'm not one to believe that Anissa has planted brain worms inside of Ian's head and is using voodoo magic to control and manipulate him. I've always been one to say that Ian's been behind the driver's seat all along, and I've always held Ian to the standard that he has created for himself. And I've always treated Anissa and the whole sex work side of whatever as an irrespective topic, irrespective to the point I'm trying to make. But curious how I've held that position and you weren't able to use the straw man argument against me. Oh no, you weren't. So Ian, I know you saw Brandon's video. It's clear you watched it. It's clear you saw me. Why wasn't I included? Did you have no rebuttal to me? I mean, I don't look very good in that video. I look unhinged. I get unhinged. Why didn't you take the time to paint me as a psycho, but you took the clip of Rusty drunkenly rambling in his tent about getting scolded by Anissa after tweeting out the picture of the sign that I wrote, by the way. Thank you very much for making the story come full circle. It's great to see the sign that I wrote on that day not just wind up on the hard camera at Creator Clash, but wind up in a bona fide iDubbbz video. That makes me proud. I might have to release an entirely separate video talking about the story of how that sign got to where it did. But I appreciate you for sticking your audience on my buddies Turkey Tom and Rusty Cage. The people on YouTube who like to keep others honest, a part I like to have thought you used to be in, but no, we're in the crosshairs of you. You've gone so far that Rusty is somehow in your crosshairs. Rusty Cage, the guillotine man, the lemonade stand man from Guillotine Land. He has somehow become a guy you're trying to own. You see Rusty Cage as the enemy now. Guys, the Emperor has been drinking, and the Emperor, not referring to me, referring to iDubbbz. The Emperor has been drinking too much mercury. The Emperor is unwell. The Emperor is becoming mentally unwell. Probably took a little too many shots to the head. Where you seriously think that putting in a clip of Rusty Cage just objectively relaying his experience is somehow some kind of own on him? You're somehow owning Rusty. Congratulations. People are baffled. People are baffled and confused. Read the comments, Ian. People are baffled and confused of why that clip was included at all. You've got everyone in your crosshairs. You know your enemies. The problem is you're not really persuading anyone to believe why they should be considered enemies. Why they should be considered deplorables who are worthy of cancellation and finger wagging. Oh, you sexist. You sexist piece of crap, all of you people featured in this video. You're not really making a persuasive argument. And iDubbbz, you made your career on your power of persuasion, and I guess like with many talents, I guess like with professional athletes, that skill that made you so great at one time eventually fades away. Oh boy, Ian, you poor soul. You thought you were just gonna put on the content cop badge again and come after all these people. Content cop Turkey Tom, content cop Rusty Cage. You thought you were just gonna come in guns a-blazing like the good old days, like the golden age of your channel, and everyone would just rally behind you again. You were trying to relive the past that you're so desperately trying to sweep under the rug, but you don't got it anymore, man. You are washed. You were washed, and now, as I'm riding off into the sunset, literally on the road here, you have found yourself in the eye of the storm. You didn't need to make this video. This is probably the first video you've ever made where I can confidently say it would have been better never being made at all. You thought You thought you were going to come in with a 200 IQ, big brain, big bad iDubbbz coming in for another job, vanquishing the bad guys of the internet. Oh no. Oh no. You've dug your own grave. You have successfully humiliated yourself more than Froggy Fresh or Sam Hyde ever could with this video. They say that the greatest stories are told in 3 acts, and iDubbbz, I thank you for allowing me to post Act 3 of this saga on the Downward Diary. I thank you very much for the free content and free ad revenue, and I thank you for making this trip across the Oklahoma Panhandle quite a bit more pleasant, and making sure that I haven't ended up bored on this 5-hour drive. And of course, I apologize to you guys out there for this sort of rugged, impromptu setup. But unlike iDubbbz, I'm actually trying to make content that my fans like to see. Imagine that. Crazy thought, I know, but he'd rather be perpetually in creator clash, getting his brains beaten in, or policing and micromanaging people. That seems like it's his true calling in life. It's never been about making content, because he's not making content at all anymore, it seems. Myself, Sam Hyde, Froggy Fresh, whoever you want to say, we're all making content, and you just want to sit here with this boxing event. This boxing event that only began because you got emasculated by Sam Hyde when he took you down to that alleyway, that overpass or whatever in Providence, Rhode Island, and had you spar with him. Why is Creator Clash a boxing event? Why does iDubbbz go out there and consistently get creamed? Is it for the love of boxing, for the inherent love of the sport? Apparently not. You went on the H3 podcast a couple weeks ago and you look like a corpse, a walking corpse. You look like a skinwalker, and you're sitting there talking about how depressed you were and how sad and exhausting the entire process was for you. But not in the video you just uploaded. You love Creator Clash. You love boxing. You're standing by something, at least, and I gotta appreciate it while it lasts. You don't seem to do it much anymore, but at least you're standing by something. You're standing with Creator Clash. You're standing by Anissa. Fine. Go off. Go. You're no longer a part of the cool side of YouTube, as I like to call it. You have crossed over to the suits, and that's fine. I don't plan on addressing this anymore. I think it's run its course, but wow. This, just as the content cop on Leafy, content cop on Keemstar, just as those were watershed moments in YouTube history, you have created another one today, iDubbbz, but not in the positive direction for you. Oh no. You might have just put the nail in the coffin for any last ounce of respectability you once had. I had the door open for you, the door of redeemability. I thought you could be redeemed, but after this, after seeing you double down so much, after seeing you inflict all of your squirrely, indecisive, passive-aggressive decision-making and try to make Froggy Fresh out to be the bad guy in all this, you're in a nosedive, buddy. Welcome to the downward spiral. I hope you enjoy your stay.